So this is going to be the last lecture or lesson before our second exam. In this lesson, what I'm going to show you guys is how to use expressions in Discovering Chapter 12 of your textbook. Expressions is basically a number input system that we can use in order to define the dimensions instead of just using numbers. That can help us if we're looking to scale something. And I'll give you an example of that here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start a new part. And I'm going to just draw a rough sketch, and then I'm going to define these variables later. Okay, just like we've always done before, but now I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So I've drawn my sketch. Now instead of just dimensionalizing this shape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to click the button Expression. And you see a new menu has come up, and there's various things on here. So this is like an Excel spreadsheet where we can input formulas or we can input values for different names that we have. So we can define a name. So let's go ahead and try to do that. I'm going to go ahead and input a few variables here. Let's say B. And when I hit the equal sign, it's going to automatically go to the formula box. I'm going to say B is equal to 1.5, and I'm going to hit Enter. Let me also define a variable D. I'm going to hit equals 0.75. I'm going to hit Enter. And I'm going to continue to do this for several other variables. I'm going to also do E equals 2, Enter. H1 equals 2.25, Enter. H2 equals 1, Enter. And I'll finish up with the last two, where we have L1 is equal to 4, and we also have L2 equal to 250. I'm going to go ahead and push OK. Now I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to use all of those variables that I just defined in order to specify the different dimensions of this particular shape. So you see there's some that are associated right now. Let me go ahead and put the dimensions to those. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do now is instead of saying 1.9 here, I'm just going to put in the variable L2. I'm going to push Enter. And you see it automatically adjusts to the length that we entered for L2. So for this one, I'm going to put H2. I'm going to hit Enter. For this one, I'm going to have the value of L1. I'm going to hit Enter. And for this one, I'm going to have the value of H1. And I'm going to hit Enter. And I'm going to go ahead and finish the sketch now. So what you might have noticed now is that we have, instead of numbers, we have used variables or letters in order to specify these ones. And that's useful for us in case we want to make a change, especially when we're scaling it up. And I'll do an example at the end of this lesson that shows how that can be beneficial for us. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click Finish Sketch. Alright? I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to extrude this shape a distance of E. So let's go to Extrude. I'm going to select the curve and I'm going to extrude it a distance of E. And you can see that it's already selected that value E for us. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Alright? So here is our extruded shape now. Now I'm going to insert a boss. So I'm going to go to Insert, Design Feature, Boss. And for the diameter, I'm going to input a diameter of D. Oops. D. For the height, I'm going to input B. And for the taper angle, I'll just leave it 0. just like before, we're going to specify where on the solid surface we want to put this. Somewhere here. Okay, I'm going to push it OK. Now I'm going to select a couple edges. I'm going to use my expressions in order to define where this is going to be on the plane. So let me select this edge. Okay, and the distance from that edge that I want to keep is E divided by 2. I'm going to click Apply. Okay, from this edge, I'm going to click a value. From edge 2, I'm going to have a value of L1 minus L2 divided by 2. Now I'm going to click OK. So now I've placed the box in the center of my shape. And now if I want to, what I can do is I can go back to my expression and I can change some of these values and my geometry will change. So let's go to expression and let's see how the geometry changes if we change these different values. So let's say I want B to be 0.25. Okay. Let's say I want B to be E, the letter E, minus 0.5. Okay. Let's say I can push. Okay. Let's say I want the letter E to be 2.5. Push enter. H1, let me specify that as 1. H2, let me set that as 0.5. L1, let me set as 4. And L2, let me set that as 1.5. And I'll click OK. And what you see is that now the geometry has changed simply by changing the expressions of the input to this particular shape. Okay? The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the last exercise in the chapter, which is making a door latch. So let's go ahead and start our final exercise for this chapter. Alright, and we'll start a new sketch. And I'm just going to draw a rough door sketch. So I'm going to start at 0, 0, and I'm going to just draw a rough outline of a door hinge. And we'll make all the changes that are necessary, and that'll let you transfer in. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my expression, and I'm going to only input one expression in this case. And the expression is the value E, and the E is equal to 1. And I'm going to hit OK. Alright, so I'm just going to define all the variables on this door latch with respect to the value of E. Okay? So what I'm going to do, let me go ahead and make the changing of this. Let me go ahead and start putting dimensions to it. So this dimension, this dimension. Let me show you this also. So when we have, you can specify, let's say you want this to be 5 times E, okay? And the variable that we're going to call this is the variable height. And I'll push it OK. What you see is that this variable on the side has also changed to height equals 5 times E. Essentially it's 5 inches, right? So we can continue to dimensionalize this. Let's keep going. We can select these two ends. And we can say these two ends are 16 times E. And we can call this the length. Okay? So that's the length of this. Let's look at also the radius here. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and chamfer this edge just like we've done before in the past. I'm going to make sure I have these two buttons selected when I chamfer this. And there you see the little chamfer that is going to come out now. Okay, so I'm going to dimensionalize some of these parts. I'm going to say that this radius is supposed to be 0.5 times E. Okay, and I'll call this one radius 1. Okay, so that's radius 1. How many constraints do we send in? 3 more constraints. Okay, so I'll say that the distance between this center of this latch to this bottom part, so let's say the distance from the arch to this center point should be a distance of 2.5 times E. And we'll say that this is the latch underscore depth. Okay? We can put another constraint here just so we are sure to constrain this properly. Okay? One of the last components I'm going to do is I'm going to put the distance between the edge and the circle as a distance of 12 times E, and I'll put this as the latch distance. So there you see now it says that the sketch is fully constrained. I think we can add, I think in your text there's another circle that we can add that's a hole, and we can always specify the dimensions of that hole if you want to. You can go ahead and do that, I guess. And you can create a diameter hole, and the hole the diameter is 1.25 times E. Okay, and the location of this hole is going to be at so we'll call this radius 2. Oops. We'll call this radius 2, and this radius should be, or this distance should be 2.5 times E. Okay, and we'll call this distance. Alright, and let's just specify now the final point, which is the diameter of this hole, which is 2.5 or 0.25 times E. And we'll call this rate or diameter 1. Okay? So that should basically complete our sketch. Alright? So we may need one more constraint, I guess, is what it's going to be. So this will mark the distance between here and here, and we'll call this length. Okay. And then mark this as 2 times E. Let's go ahead and extrude this now. And I think it's saying that our sketch now is fully constrained. I'll finish it. Let's go ahead and extrude this shape, and we'll extrude this to a value of E. So you'll see that the E value is already selected here, and I'll go ahead and click OK. So there's our door latch that we created. So one thing that we can use to test this, if you guys want to scale something up, it's pretty cool. We can go here to look at all our values that we've inputted. So let's change the value of E. Let's change the value of E to 1.75 and click OK, and boom, our whole door latch has scaled up significantly. So you see what this could be used for. Maybe if you wanted to scale something up in the future, you can put it in terms of a particular variable, and all you would need to do instead of redoing the whole thing is just go to your value, and you can put a value of 0.75, I guess it's saying, and see what happens. So there you go, that's chapter 12. This is the last lecture, and good luck on these things.